Complex, complex, complex.
Hearing all this, that, and this, and that. Tell the truth, nigga. Whack. Your top 10 is anonymous. Your top 10 is anonymous.
Complex.
Your top 10 is anonymous. Sending all these mixed signals just
What's
like
poppin' pimp? This is your boy AJ Dubs, here to motivate, inspirate, and dedicate my services to helping you create your future. Today's O&L story is assets and liabilities. Now, in a classroom far, far away in the U.S. is an economics class. The students were asked what they wanted to be when they grew up. Lots of other students were yelling out, you know, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be a rapper, I want to be a ball player, I want to be this. And let's just say student B, okay, starting out. You got student A, student B. Student B yells out, I want to be a plumber, just like my dad. Student A clowns him for saying it, like there was something wrong with being a plumber. So student B jumps up and says, I'd rather be more like him than most of us out here right now. He's a business owner. Got his own employees. So he goes on the board and challenges student A to knowing the difference between assets and liabilities. He writes it on the board, splits it down the middle. And he asks student A, okay, name 3 of your favorite rappers. So he names them. And he says, I bet you I could prove that my father is making just as much as they are right now. So student A laughs. The whole class, he's trying to go along with it, trying to clown him. Ha ha, you know how that goes. So student B says, okay, you don't even know that probably half those rappers are actually wearing rented jewelry or jewelry that's not real. Most of their money that they're making is being split down the middle to a certain percentage, usually down to this figure number, what he put on the board. Then he puts down what his father was making, and he was pretty much maybe 1,000 off of, or just over what the rapper was making. So standing there in shock, student A has, the deer in the headlight looks. Pin drop in the room. Nobody can even, say a word. Once that happened, he even had to go and start talking about movies as metaphors to talk about assets, because the class didn't even know what they were. So he said, you remember the movie Baby Boy? The students are like, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The parts about guns and butter. Okay, what are the guns? As in the assets. That's property. That's artwork. That's stocks and bonds. Things that appreciate when you buy them, as in increase as far as value, and can be broken down to liquid, or as in money. Liabilities is what your favorite little rapper is usually into. Most of those cars are rented. They're not owned. They're renting rims, wearing fake jewelry, spending most of their money on things to impress people that don't like them or they don't like. All right, so let's break it all the way down to your mom's house. Does your mom rent? Boy was yeah, okay. Well, obviously she must rent because you don't know. My mom and my pops has a mortgage. Okay, so say you're paying rent on your house. What's this? 12 months. That's a year. Okay, you paying $1,000. My folks is paying $1,000 or a little less, actually less than that, $700, $750, $700, something like that, to a point where they pay it for 30 years. But they can jump out of that house off of a rent-to-own contract to buy and rent and be able to own a brand new home, versus you staying in one place, still paying rent to somebody who owns your building. So you're pretty much making their dreams come true. So pin drop in the room even further. Hey, what else can you do? Assets and liabilities. So know the difference. Stop trying to look rich and focus on being rich. It's better to have a home to come home to and a decent car versus wearing your wealth, paying for $5,000 clothing, 10. Hey, but sometimes there are some exceptions where people do have the money to spend on that. And if that's your brand, that's what you like, that's great. Nothing wrong with it. But live below your means so that way you can live the lifestyle you want to live. So by the time Student B was done talking, everybody went silent. You could tell they were shocked and that they learned something, even the teacher. That's the funny thing about it. So extra story behind that. Let's say you got two cousins. Both of them have their own struggles, but had their own opportunities. One didn't take advantage of his opportunities, but the other one did. And cousin one got a problem with cousin two because cousin two decided to take advantage of every opportunity he had, in front of him, which took him a long way. He even got him to have all the things he wanted. But one thing we don't see is the little things in between. The hard work that person put in to get there. Even with cousin one had his own struggles. He had to work through things to get where he wanted to be. But they're both thinking about getting rich or getting money. Nothing wrong with that. But the difference is one was thinking about just getting rich and stunting, but the other one was thinking about generational wealth. So cousin one only wanted to focus on, what was the new ride that was out there, what kind of clothes they were wearing, got all these things all the way down to the jewelry, but have nothing to show for it. But cousin two focused on getting himself a new home, a new car, things that were necessary as far as the value of having a livelihood. Start saving his money, investing in businesses, focus on owning his own home and owning multiple homes on top of that. So once he was done, he can pass it on to his children or to, some nieces and nephews, making sure everybody in his family is retired and taken care of. I mean, which road would you take? Would you want generational wealth, or would you just want to stunt and stay stagnant? There you go. Assets and liabilities. So if you don't know what to do, what you can do is save money to invest in something that can make you money, like stocks and bonds or property or so on and so forth. That's the O&L story for today. Leave me some comments at the bottom. Make sure you hit up Origins and LEGACIEZ clothing. Get you a nice t-shirt. Join the movement. But until then, catch you at the next one. Delicious.
Praying that I don't drown from this money fountain. Another million buried, that's thanks to my accountants. Hello world, I would like you to meet our worst nightmare on any Black Wall Street. I mastered the paper trail like Dave Chappelle.